Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Jim Ewing with Provision Solutions. We've enjoyed sharing insights, inspiration, and informative updates through our Marketplace Ministries events. Whether in person or virtual, there's been a wealth of great resources provided. Details are provided in the comments below, along with information on staying informed of upcoming events and interacting with others online. We trust you'll enjoy the segment and invite you to be a part of our Marketplace Ministries Network. We'd love to have you as part of our collaborative Christian community. Thanks. And now, here's our presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our special presentation today. I am delighted to have a friend of mine, Nolon Ryks, in Edmonton. Nolon has a great amount of experience when it comes to projects, developing them from the beginning, the start of a project through to completion. And we're just delighted to have Nolon here with us right now. So, Nolon, why don't you give us a little bit of background about who you are, what you bring to the table?
Thanks, Jim. My name is Nolan. I work for Norson Construction. We build big box. I work with developers, clients to serve their needs. Before that, I worked for Qualco Developments. So we were building multifamily development, 4 stories, condos, townhouse sites, etc. All the way up from my first jobs in this business were in the field building houses, and then that was my gateway into Qualico uh, in their residential division, and then over into estimating, project management, into multifamily. So that's my career evolution through all this. Educational background, I have a certificate of project management from NATE with the Gold Seal program through the Canadian Construction Association. I also attended the U of A for engineering, and that's kind of some of the background there.
Nolon, we've known each other for a number of years. I can't even count on my fingers and toes how many years we've known each other, which is awesome, you and your family. And I know that you come to your projects and your walk in life from a perspective as a follower of Jesus Christ. And that's who we're particularly trying to uh, provide content to help them with as they would maybe be pursuing projects that would involve land, building, development, these types of things for whatever purpose. So there's a variety of different things that we're looking at. But Nolon, when you take a look at a project, when you talk with a prospective client about what they want to do, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations for property and moving it forward, what is it that you bring to the table from your perspective as a follower of Jesus Christ?
I think adding the provision element, we had spoken about how earlier before this conversation, we'd spoken about that First Kings 5 uh, character of Hiram. And there's a few other these characters in the Bible. You think of rebuilding the temple the second time, and how the foreign kingdoms came and brought all this wealth and resource to bear to bring the temple back to its original condition. But in the first iteration of the temple, we have the first time that was built, the first building project, we have Solomon becoming king, and he sends off word to Hiram, king of Tyre. And I'll paraphrase. I'm just going to pull this out for conciseness. In verse 7, Hiram's responding to Solomon's message, asking for cedars, for materials for the project. So Hiram says back, "The Lord is worthy of praise today because he has given David a wise son to rule over a great nation." Um, Hiram continues, "I received the message you sent to me, and I will give all the cedars and green you need." Skipping down a little ways, there will be there they will the rafts will arrive, and you will be able to separate the logs, carry them away. In exchange, you will supply my house with food I need for my royal court. This forms, you could argue, the contract, the original construction contract for the construction of the temple. Um, But from that, like the Lord has put certainly in my heart and many other people in this business's heart, people who build things in a very literal sense. I mean, most businesses are building something, but uh, us in a very literal sense in the construction industry, this is um, so key, bringing provision into the house, bringing expertise into the house, uh, and making that available to the people of God, the ministries, the financiers, the kings in the kingdom for their use. So I think that's a beautiful picture of what's going on. So I think that's what's ultimately at heart. I love to see Christian business develop, building new things, and even building churches. You know, watching the kingdom of God expand. That's fairly on the nose, but that is that is something that's a perspective, if you will, that I bring. That's certainly the heart that I bring for this. I love to see uh, greenfield to something, something happening, something building. What I'd like to cover off today in particular are some of the startup concerns. Where do you start from? You've got a project, you've got a business plan. We want to build something to accomplish some goal. So that brings you a stop on the way to your objectives through an office like this, somebody like me. So when starting up a project, you're going to be acquiring some land. As you're looking for land, one of the things in your startup thought process is if you can engage with your architectural team or general contractor early on while you're looking for that piece of property that they'll accomplish your goal, not just from a where it's located, visibility, et cetera, all the marketing concerns, but also there's some background legal items. You've all heard of zoning suitability, what kind of infrastructure is there, your general contractor, your architect, those types of consultants can help you along with that. So as you're going through that process, you know you need your lawyer, you know you need your real estate agent, but that's a good time to start including, at least on a consultant basis, some kind of expertise in the construction field for what you're looking to do. If it's a green field or if you're looking to rent a piece of property for use as a business, it can be a good idea to engage the contractor earlier as well, and then they can have a look at existing facilities to let you know how many additions or how many modifications, help you quantify some of the downstream consequences of leasing or purchasing an existing piece of property will be. So that's shameless plug, get us involved early.
Awesome. Well, there's a process that definitely has to be followed. I mean, there's a number of projects that I think we've all seen that, you don't see anything coming out of the ground until maybe the project is a third of the way through from start to finish with all of the engineering and estimating that needs to be taken place and
Yeah.
ordering of supplies, lining up of contractors and that type of thing. So maybe walk us through if you don't mind. You've talked a little bit about permits and the requirements that are necessary there, but why don't you pick it up from there, Nolan, and take us a little further?
Sure. Just trying to hit a few pitfalls or points to consider. Um, just in the Bible, it talks about counting the cost of a tower. So I don't think it goes without saying that good cost estimate, good cost projection is part of a project. So one of the other things is, in addition to having runway time for getting your permits, zoning, et cetera, in order, which can be one of the major causes for delay in getting something up and out of the ground, is also having your equipment on order. Um, so having a good sense of the scope of the project so that materials can be ordered as soon as possible um, is fairly critical and key. Again, getting back to that, architectural consultants having a good idea what needs to happen so it's on paper, ready to go, ready to be ordered. I'll put this nugget back in there. It's cheaper to do something on paper. It's cheaper to pay an engineer or to go over it on paper over and over again than it is to change things once we get it physically on site. So paying a lot of attention to this early phase of construction, people get quite excited once there's 2x4s and there's concrete and there's earth moving. But once we get to that point, to my earlier comments about being able to order early, is doing that legwork up front. It's very cheap to move stuff around on paper. It's very expensive to move it around in the field.
Nolan, let
Um,
me just jump in here for a moment. I mean, I can't resist. I just have to jump in right now. We've talked before about the importance of the planning process, and I've seen this with so many entrepreneurs, regardless of what their concept is. It's time well spent to think through the concept of what you are dealing with and what are the types of things that you would need, just as you said here, to put all of the pieces in position to allow you to move forward without delay, to make sure that you have the materials, that you have the equipment, that you have the workers that would be necessary to move that project forward efficiently
Mhm.
and in a timely manner. One of the verses that you've alluded to, and one of my favorites here, is actually the one in Luke. Luke chapter 14, verse 28, and it just happens I've got it right here. So let me read it for the benefit of all of us. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. There we go. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Good question and great planning. How much is this thing going to cost? Do we have the resources and can we fit it into the time frame that the expectation is to have it completed? Over to you.
Yeah, that's getting some expectation. Again, that can be part of the benefit of engaging early with professionals in this field, your architect, your consulting, general contractor, any of the above. One of those key deliverables, in addition to cost, will be time. When can you get occupied units? When can you get city occupancy? When can you start flipping hamburgers and putting them out the door? Whatever the case may be. So that is a huge driver of that will also drive your costs. You want to get a project built and out the door. It's shocking how fast we can build some things. Um, but that compressed schedule, just to give you some idea, Costco's are being built right now under 60 days. So they are rocketing or out of the ground. The majority of the construction, there's some other stuff that happens in the back end, but the lion's share of the construction and structural erection is 60 days. But the good people at Costco have almost a year of procurement time from award of contract till they get to that point. So the moral of that story is these projects are being planned. You watch the big guys, oh, they built it, they did it this way. Well, they've been planning this project for 2-3 years before a shovel hits the ground. Um, Getting some idea of what your business plan calls for in terms of getting to revenue generation with your property and your build. Uh, it's an important conversation to have early. Don't assume that because I want to open in April that my general contractor or the process in front of it, the zoning, permits, design process, and then actual eventual construction. Take an example. If you're going to build a house, you're going to be looking at 6 months to build. So you might say, okay, well, I can buy a property, and 6 months from now, I can have a house ready to move into. Well, get back to that discussion. We have to make sure the zoning's appropriate for what you're doing. So you may have to go through that approval process, adding months to that timeline. Construction of a project is usually about a third of the actual project time from acquisitions, design, all the way through as a whole. The actual construction time, physical construction time, is about a third of that. So if you use that mental image of your project, and that's a rule of thumb, so it varies, and get you something out on the other end that you guys can use.
All right. Well, there's a lot to think about, and certainly the planning will help streamline your thinking and get you headed in the right direction. What's the next thing we might need to think about?
Side of the project is actually closing it out. So I apologize. I'm going to jump all the way to the other end. So the front end harped on, beat that to death of plan, plan, plan. But on the other side, compliance on the other end. Now everything starts and is rooted in the other end, but once you get to the far side of the project, there's that last 10% of a project to do. So if you're building something fairly substantial, you'll have a lot of warranty documents, a lot of as-built, all these things, testing, um, to get the engineers and architects to sign off to approve the construction. There is approvals for your sprinkler, fire alarms, uh, as a kind of a condensed list. The reason I'm bringing this up is when you get to the end, that's where things can spin out of, I don't want to say spin out of control, but that's where things can spin long as well as you can have a slow startup because enough planning wasn't done, not enough things were considered, not enough people were at the table up front. And you could also have that same issue on the back end, getting your final approvals done and accomplished so you can actually occupy that building. Ultimately, we are all at the behest of the lovely in here locally, at the behest of the lovely province of Alberta, and they have to give you an occupancy permit to occupy your space. And to get that, there's a fair number of things, technical details at the end to bring a project together. So that last 10% of the project needs a fair amount of attention. I've alluded to a few of the items that you may run into. That'll depend on what kind of equipment you're running, but that'll cover off the majority of the areas where you will see a hiccup.
One of the other concepts too is that of making allowance for contingencies. You've talked about time delays, weather delays, problems with suppliers. We've seen that with various projects, and just a variety of things that can go sideways on a person with a project. So those need to be kept in mind too. But what other tips and suggestions might you have?
I think one of the little pocket things I have is trying not to run projects to the exterior during the winter. That seems fairly obvious in this country, but the number of people that are still starting projects towards the end of August, September, putting a hole in the ground at that time of year can incur not an unsubstantial amount of cost. That's a practical consideration as far as suggestions go. So that's one item, running into heating and hoarding and keeping a building warm long enough to get it closed in. The other consideration I think I have is, or encouragement I think I have is, when you're shopping around for your general contractor, like that's a time to use some wisdom. There's a lot of people in this business. It is a not highly regulated business. So now that this is the time for prayer coverage, as you're looking around, there are lots of excellent contractors out there. But making any decision that Christian makes should be rooted in prayer, in out of our faith. We're making practical decisions, practical metrics in front of us, absolutely, measurables. But we also should be staying in prayer that God is leading us in the direction we should go towards the people that can help us out. Been wonderful to watch people in my life come across my career path, come across my projects that have been such a godsend to make projects happen, make clients happy, and even just as personal encouragement to myself. So projects can be stressful, but stay in the center, stay in prayer, stay in involvement with the church. One of the most satisfying things in my week to week is attending prayer. But just getting out there and be able to release that stress, much like the golf course, the prayer room is a place for releasing that stress, giving it back to God, and walking back out with your shoulders square to the world.
Nolan, I got to confess to you, I have to confess to you, you probably haven't seen my golf game. There's a lot of stress that goes into that. Hey, there's a verse that came to mind here, and I think it fits in very nicely with what you've talked about. Because as the follower of Jesus Christ, as a follower of Jesus Christ, uh, we would desire to honor him in all that we say and in all that we do. So we want to reflect Jesus Christ to the world that's watching, in a positive way, so that they are not turned off, that they are not um, put off by the way that we would approach the things that we do. And the one verse that comes to mind is found in Psalms 127, verse 1. And a part of the verse, the first part says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain." So what you've said here is that it's so important for us to have our hearts and our minds and our efforts centered in line with our Lord Jesus Christ, that we would be going in the direction that we would be compatible for us, and in keeping with his direction and will for our lives. So if we stay close to him, we know he is going to stay close to us. And we would pray that he would guide our footsteps every step of the way.
Excellent. Well said. Yeah.
So maybe as we kind of bring things to a close here, encouragement for people from a Christian perspective, obviously, stay in tune with the Lord, take your heart's desire to the Lord in prayer. He already knows what it is, but he likes it when we come to him for that direction from the CEO of our lives. But also wise counsel. You've talked about having people in our circle of contacts that are experts in their field, but also that have a heart and appreciation for what the Lord would want in these situations too. So you may not always engage with people that are of the same mind and of the same faith, but it's important for us to make sure that we are in the proper place.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's much to be gained from uh, our community. There's so many people internally, but yes, having the right people across your path. The expert may not be in your church, but if you stay in prayer, that right person is out there, and they have a direction for you to go, and they have I'll go as far as to say they'll have a divine word for you.
Okay. Hey, well, in knowing you over these several years that we've had opportunity to connect, I have seen that played out a couple of times, and it's just amazing how doors and opportunities open up, and we have the connections, the people in our circle of contacts that may be helpful to someone else, and we can help create those introductions. So I know we have both seen that in the things that we've been working on. So maybe final word to you before we kind of wrap things up, Nolan. What do you think?
Sure. Final words. Go out there, make things happen. Um, this is an exciting place of business. This is a dynamic, high risk, high reward industry for those that are in it, that are watching, for those that are engaging adjacent to it, building something with us. We thank you for engaging with us in that high risk endeavor. And ultimately, we're all praying that everything that our when we put our hands to the plow, that a good harvest is following behind.
Awesome. Well, those are good words to kind of end on. Nolan, Ryks, thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts, your expertise with us. And I know that we'll have many opportunities in the future to connect and continue building those mutually beneficial relationships. God bless you. Thank you, Nolan.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for being with us. We trust you found this to be helpful. And if so, please give us a like, a follow, and a share. The Bible says in Matthew, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." If you're launching or growing a business, a ministry area, or a special project, or if you're involved in helping them as a resource or service provider, we'd love to have you participate with us. Stay informed of upcoming events and items of interest by subscribing to the Marketplace Ministries Update, sent out periodically. May God bless you as you do your best to faithfully represent Jesus Christ in the marketplaces of life.